Hey, how are ya? This is the second segment of my live-action Spider-Man movies breakdown, and it's arguably the most controversial one. I'm sorry if you've been waiting all these months for it. Tom Holland trilogy will probably be out 2028.
I'm really strong and I'm sticky!
I'm going to be splitting the franchise into two videos, just because it's much easier for me to do that. It isn't me being lazy, because I'm hoping the sequel will be out relatively quickly after this one, and videos that are 36 minutes and 44 seconds seem a bit too long. But if you guys like that longer style, please let me know. If you said to me you didn't like the franchise, I'd say, yeah, that's fair. But then if you said that it's your favourite films of all time, I'd also think, yeah, that's a valid point. It's very hit and miss for more obvious reasons than not, but that's what we're here to look at. But we will also be discussing how great both these films are. This video, as you already know, is dedicated to The Amazing Spider-Man 1, which is heavily overlooked in my opinion, and I wish that when you finish this video, you're able to see it in a more positive light, or at least have your opinion validated. You know when you're young, and I mean young, you remember little fragments of your childhood. Well, one of these moments was going to the library smack dab in the middle of Eden Shopping Centre in my hometown of Wickham. I'd go there every single week with my mum and nan, and I'd always find myself looking at this Blu-ray disc of The Amazing Spider-Man 1. It looked beautiful, so different to what I was used to. Spider-Man is usually so bright and friendly, but he was not any of those. We picked up the disc, which I still have, and the rest is history. Like every other Spider-Man film, I watched and rewatched again until I knew every scene like the back of my hand. You've probably guessed it, but I am a defender of The Amazing Spider-Man. Look, it's not perfect, there are many flaws which I'll be going into, but there is so much heart in these movies. Do you know how much an impossible task director Mark Webb had on his hands? Mark Webb made 500 Days of Summer, a movie about falling in love and the idealization of that love, and it appealed to many young people. It became a classic romantic comedy, and audiences loved it. They said it was vulnerable, human, and felt young. This was his first feature film, and it had a budget of $7 million. He then gets an offer from Sony to reboot Spider-Man, reboot the most beloved superhero franchise of all time, and is handed a budget $230 million. The movie is coming out in 2012. Do you know what else is coming out in 2012? The Avengers. Do you know what else is coming out in 2012? The sequel to The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. This is Mark Webb's second feature film. I cannot imagine the pressure that he was facing. Like I already said, this was a complete reboot of the most beloved superhero franchise ever. Audiences may not have been as on board with Spider-Man 3, but the world fell in love with Spider-Man 1 and 2, and now they expect something that will live up to those movies, or something even better. Luckily, Mark Webb said yes and had the guts as a filmmaker to take on this challenge. So what do you do? Well, you do the complete opposite of Raimi. You know how much I love the Raimi films. They are literal Spider-Man comics come to life with over-the-top superhero drama and stylized action filled with so much heart and sincerity. No one could do what Raimi did better than Raimi, so The Amazing Spider-Man does everything it can do to be the opposite. There is no campiness in this movie, in fact it's realistic. This was started from Nolan's Batman movies, taking on a more grounded and realistic approach in a world of superheroes. How realistic can your movie get with a 10-foot lizard? Not very. I have always been of the opinion that trying to have a grounded story with characters that can fly and have super strength is fucking absurd. But The Amazing Spider-Man keeps the emotional parts of the film realistic and succeeds massively. The decisions, the relationships, the consequences all work. Unlike the Raimi movies, there's no awe-inducing lighting and insane camera movements, but it's still shot great. The framing composition is cool, but it's not as visually stylized as Raimi's movies. But this isn't because Mark Webb can't do any of that stuff. I mean, look at 500 Days of Summer, even Tasm 2, both pop with colour and are visually gorgeous. And I just wish he brought that into this film instead of trying to keep that dark, gritty look. Many people hate on the suit. I hear the names Basketball Man thrown around, and like, yeah, I get it. But this all ties into Webb's idea of trying to be different from the Raimi movies. Less bulky and heroic, more spider-like. Less iconic, more craftable. It's sleek, clean, something a teenager would be able to make. Do you know what else is controversial? This Peter Parker. Because this Peter Parker is arguably cool, and Peter Parker is not cool. However, in my opinion of course, Andrew Garfield's Peter is amazing. Minus the skateboard, I think everything about his character is from the comics and is necessary here. To the people saying he is not comic accurate in any way, shape or form, You're basing him off of Tobey's Peter, who was realistically an adult. This Peter is a teenager, and he has that early Ditko chip on his shoulder which we never got to see that much with Tobey. You can tell he's got deep-rooted trauma which he doesn't share. He's quiet, head down at all times, and carries himself with that wise guy prick act. Some may say that's not a very good decision, but when you're a teenager, every emotion is downright apocalyptic and life is genuinely the Hunger Games. This is how a teenager would act in this world, especially when being given spider powers. And adding on to these spider powers, Peter is trying to find out and discover everything about his father, something that was set up in the opening scenes of this film. Now, I don't like the spy parents story. I think it takes away from the everyman element that has made Spider-Man so popular, but I think having everything in the film a direct branch of his parents is a brilliant idea. What I mean by this is Peter is bitten by the spider at Oscorp while looking for answers about his parents, trying to fill that void. He even wears his dad's glasses. However, by doing that, he indirectly causes the death of the man that truly raised him. We feel consequence and the weight of responsibility in this story, because if Peter wasn't at Oscorp, then he wouldn't have got to pick up May, which wouldn't have led to this argument with Ben about responsibility, which wouldn't have led to him storming out the house and then going to the liquor store and then letting the robber go, which would never have killed Uncle Ben. The question the Amazing Spider-Man asks is, can this kid look past his trauma, past the missing piece of his life, and save the city from someone who could not move past theirs? Can this kid mature into a man with the weight of the world on his shoulders and learn what responsibility really means? Isn't that just brilliant? You know what else is brilliant? Did you know that in The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter doesn't wear the Spider-Man costume until the 55th minute mark, and he doesn't really become quote-unquote Spider-Man until an hour and 17. I think that speaks to Mark Webb as a filmmaker. He cares about the people and the dynamics. He doesn't care about the spider, he cares about the man, and I think that's something which has been forgotten about in superhero media. We have these people who could easily be 2D, but he gives them weight. Flash is fantastic. He has an incredible arc throughout the movie, and after being humiliated by Peter, who is at his lowest, Flash doesn't try slam him, but instead shows compassion and vulnerability. Captain George Stacy could be the meanie who wants to stop Spider-Man, but he's a loving father and husband who cares for his city. Gwen could be a shallow love interest to Peter, but instead is given so much depth and has a life outside of Peter, and that's why these two relationship is by far my favourite aspect of the franchise. These two, when they share the screen, just makes you want to smile. Their chemistry is undeniable, and we can see why Peter would want to be with her. She's smart, she's funny, she's caring, she treats Peter like no one else would. We love these two because they are both well fleshed out characters. Some people also don't like how Spider-Man in this is a dick, but that's the point. Peter is selfish, and when he gets his powers, he only uses them for vengeance and vengeance alone. It's his way of dealing with grief until ego overtakes that. He tortures the car thief, and it's the bullied bullying back. Peter is now throwing the basketball. He's rude to the cops, and when Captain Stacy's completely right about what Peter has been using his powers for, he's in complete denial and believes he's got this cloak of invincibility around him because he is selfish. But that's the point, and it leads back to the question of, can Peter Parker grow up? Can he use his powers for individuals other than himself? And that's something so unique and so well written. Do you know what I don't like? Some of the editing choices. Can someone please explain to me why everything is so choppy and we aren't able to hold on an emotion and instead have to cut to every single camera that was filming the scene? Why would you have this insanely cool one shot from the trailer and snip it down so small? Why is everything so desaturated? I also think Uncle Ben saying all of this when he could just say, with great power comes great responsibility, is a bit strange.
That's nice, that's great.
Do we really need to be reminded of the Tattoo Star Robber twice in under 8 minutes? The music and the score is also a bit hit and miss for me. We don't need to be screamed at to be scared or have sad music to feel sad. The acting performances convey the emotions. You think I don't get teary-eyed watching this scene? Because I do, but it's Garfield's acting. The score doesn't add to it in any way. Why is there over 20 minutes of deleted footage which goes a long way in humanising Connors and making him a much better character? Was it to keep down the runtime? I don't know. Connors gets a lot of shit, and I'm not surprised. The deleted scenes give us a much stronger connection to him, and instead of us feeling how tragic his descent into madness and how crippled he is by obsession trying to fill that empty void, he's a CGI lizard for Spider-Man to punch.
There you go.
But I like what he does for Peter's arc. He influences Peter's growth into Spider-Man, and Peter influences Kurt's regression into the Lizard. He works with Connors in search for answers for what happened to his parents and gets bit by the spider. He then tries becoming closer to Kurt and gives him his father's equation. The equation works too well and transforms him into the Lizard because of Peter. He then attacks these people on the bridge and forces Peter to use his powers not for vengeance but for saving lives. Peter decides to use his powers for individuals other than himself. The powers have been a way of him dealing with grief. He saves the life of a boy who is reunited with his father, something Peter's been longing for his whole life. He doesn't become Spider-Man here, or here, or here, but here. He realises what Spider-Man can be, should be, and it forces him to see Spider-Man in a completely new light. When he finds out Connors is in fact the Lizard, he realises he now has a responsibility to save him. He learns that every action, big or small, right or wrong, has consequences, and that is what Spider-Man is. When Peter is about to plummet, Kurt saves him, but not with his lizard hand, but his real hand of a flawed individual. Peter has spent so much of the entire movie searching for the brilliant scientific father figure who has the power to change the world and has instead neglected the everyman. He's been shot and he is at his lowest point, and it is his responsibility to save these people from his father's equation. The crane scene is so brilliant because it's the everyman who saves him. People like Ben, people like the father he saved on the bridge. They're the people who have raised him his whole life, and they're the ones who end up saving him with the crane, which raises him literally and metaphorically. The humanity is what lifts Peter up, and I think that's perfect because Spider-Man is the everyman hero. He is our thoughts, he is our struggles, he is our saviour. You didn't read or watch Spider-Man because he was rich or had a spider cave. You fell in love with him because you could be him. He experiences the battles us working class folk do, and I think the movie really gets that. After everything that has happened, Peter has finally grown up and matured from a young, angsty, selfish teen to a man. I found out today that this scene was written by Alvin Sargent, who just so happened to write Spider-Man 2, my favourite movie of all time. Peter's not shaking anymore or stuttering, he has the strength to tell the hard truths. And because of all this growth, he can finally listen to Uncle Ben's message which he was never able to before.
And if anyone's destined for greatness, it's you, son. You owe the world your gifts. You just have to figure out how to use them. So come on home, Peter. You're my hero. And I love you.
In the previous Spider-Man franchise, Peter Parker learned his lessons and the responsibility that he carries and pushed MJ away to protect her. However, with Andrew's Peter, it's left very unclear, and this is what me or you would do.
Well, at least we can always count on you.
Sorry, Miss Ritter, won't happen again, I promise.
Don't make promises you can't keep, Mr. Parker.
Yeah, but those are the best kind.
Okay, class, open your books. Let's begin on page 1.
Is it the right choice? I don't know, I'm not the guy to make that call, but all I do know is this is the human choice. And Spider-Man is that. He's our strength, fears, lessons learned, lessons yet to be learned, and he is a human being, and that is why he is a symbol to us no matter what. I love The Amazing Spider-Man. I've been obsessed with it. I've been obsessed with the suit, the themes, the characters, the swinging, everything. It's not the best Spider-Man movie, I still have my gripes with it, but please rewatch this one and I promise you'll love it a lot more after taking in what I've said, after this complete ramble. Sony obviously had a real lack in confidence of the film, and Webb was a victim of studio meddling majorly, especially in the sequel, but that is for another day. Avi Arad did not think that this reboot would have been good enough for the audience, so he tweaked it to what he thought was the best it could be. But in reality, if he trusted Mark Webb and believed that he delivered the heart and sincerity of 500 Days of Summer to this project, it would have been the truly amazing Spider-Man. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that and managed to get to this point. If you did, ideal, that means I'm doing a half decent job. Thank you so much for the love that you showed me on my previous video. It was very overwhelming and it encourages me to do these silly videos. So if you like them, please comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff. I really want to make a Stranger Things video. That's something I really want to do next. And Tasm 2 video soon. I really, really hope. This took me 3 days to write or something. I don't know about recording and editing. I'll put it on the screen here. But yeah, Stranger Things or Tasm 2. Okay, thank you. Take care. See you later. Goodbye.